Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at Siege of Valeria. Let's go ahead and take a look. It's only a solo game, so the only way you can play it is with solo. Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, thanks for the continual support. I really do appreciate it. All right, so this is what the game looks like after just one round. I just decided to get one round in, so we had some stuff going on. And as you can see, I've got some damage already. I've got one of these champions out here who will hopefully help me. And then I've got a full battlefield of stuff, including the main objectives, which are the siege engines. All right? And the way you win this game is you have to destroy all 13 siege engines in this deck. There is a total of 18, so you don't see all of them throughout the game. There's also a total of, I think it's 48 champions. I don't remember exactly, but you don't see two of them in the game either, and then two of them go into your hand to start with. You only have one here right now, so you won't always see everything every time, which is good, provides some variability. So what's happening in this game? The whole object of the game, like I said, is to destroy these 13 engines before a couple things happen. Number one, any one of these turrets takes 5 or 4 damage. If that happens, you immediately lose the game. Number two, if you run out of cards here, you can't add 4 more enemies to the battlefield when you're supposed to at the end of the round. Number three, if a siege engine is in your vanguard, which is your front row, at the end of the round, you automatically lose. So if I don't destroy this one right now, I'm going to automatically lose the game. And I think that's pretty much it. That's the way that you would lose. So it's not a very complex game, but there's a lot of fun combo-like decisions that will give you a variety of things that you're trying to do. And so what are the mechanics here? Well, you're going to basically do the same 7 steps on this little card here every time, every round. And the first step, which I'll begin right now, is you roll the dice that you have available to you. And you can get a couple of more dice depending on certain enemies that you kill, which I killed earlier, that gave the ability to get another dice. Like this one says gain and roll a red. So that means you'd get another red die. And that's awesome because you're going to be rolling it. Sometimes you do have to sacrifice or discard one or set one aside or whatever, and that happens all the time too. So like this says forfeit 1 die of your choice and one of your champions over here. So that's possible to do that too. So anyway, you're going to roll the dice. And then I just like to take them out, make it they're kind of available here in the front so that I can see what I'm doing. And this is a pretty good roll. I got a good spread of different numbers. Higher the numbers, the better in almost every case, but I got a good spread here. And then after you roll, you're going to resolve any siege engines that are in range. Now, a siege engine is only in range if it's in one of the 5 rows that showing the orangish red spots here, not the black. And normally you cannot attack a siege engine unless it's in range. There are some cards that allow you to break that rule, but for the most part, that's the way it goes. So you can work it from left to right or right to left. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to start here. This one is not in range. This one's not in range. This one is in range. So it says discard 1 champion and flip another one. So I have to discard this guy right out. He's gone. That's it. Not going to see him anymore. So we didn't even get to use him. This one is not in range. This one is in range. It says reroll 1/6. So that's unfortunate. Come on. Oh, that was not good. All right. So we've done the second step, which is resolve the siege engines. Then we have to draw an event. Most of these are bad. In this case, it says flip 2 of your champions on your fortress face down. Well, I don't have any champions, so don't have to worry about that one. And sometimes they are good, but most of the time they're bad, okay? Then after you draw the event, you will then perform your actions. So here's where you're going to spend your dice from your pool and try to do different things with the card combos that you have. Every time you kill one of these things, you're going to get that in your hand. You can use it for its effect. Every time you kill a siege engine, you're going to also get one of these champions right away. So I told you I got to deal with this guy. I might as well not beat around the bush. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to spend the 10 that we need right here. So the 6 and the 4, we'll put those back. That will kill this right there. All right. And then I will get a new champion, which I can put in any one of these turrets that isn't completely damaged to the 3rd level or worse. Actually, I guess it isn't worse. It's worse. You'd lose. So this is nice. It says flip this person over to add 1 hit to one of these red monsters. So that's good. That'll help me. And I'll tell you exactly how it's going to help me. This guy right here, I'd like to kill him or him because I can change one of my dice to a 6. I have all these lousy 1s over here. So let's think about how to do that. The way that these blue dice work is just like other Kingdom of Valeria kind of games, they line up to the magic level here. These are damage dice, those are magic. So if there's a magic requirement, you have to at least meet that magic requirement in blue dice. You don't have to necessarily meet this with just red dice, but you have to spend at least 1 red die on this. So if I wanted to meet this requirement, I could go like this, and I could spend this, and then even that, just to be an example, okay? And that would be what I need to do. Now, what's interesting on all of these is that this one says that I can spend +2 to overkill an adjacent card. And overkill basically means if you spend the amount of dice, you just kill it. So it's like it rolls right through and you're good to go. So it says encourage creative combos. And so I believe in all of that, what I could do is I could actually kill this guy first, like I told you about. I'm going to go ahead and do it just like I said there. So that's 4 and 4. So he's dead. These go away. Then I'm going to spend that +2. I'm going to spend this card right away. And I could spend 2 more to do the overkill, which immediately will kill him. All right. Now he's in my hand. Now I can change 1 die to a 6. Well, that's good. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's change this 1 to a 6. And then that means that I can use, for instance, this. I've got 6. 1 would be 7. That would be 8. So I can do this. So flip her over. Spend these, and that gives me 8. Now I've got one that doubles a die. But before I double a die, I can go ahead and spend this +1 to make this a 2. And boy, this really worked out. I didn't plan it this way, folks, but that's fantastic. And then I can double this die to make it a 4 and wipe him out. So I spent all my dice and I got the Vanguard row completely cleared, which is good because what happens after that step is if there are any cards in the Vanguard row, obviously if there's a siege engine, you immediately lose and that's the end of the game. But if there's any other cards in the Vanguard row, you would take one of these damage and they would get discarded, okay? So luckily there isn't, so I don't have to worry about any of that. So I can completely skip that whole taking damage and worrying about having to deal with problems right there and go right to the next step, which is advance the battlefield. So now, our enemies press in, they fill in the gaps, okay? And then I will reinforce. So the first thing we do is we look to see if any of these rows do not have a siege engine. There is no siege engine in this one. And you put it in the 5th, not necessarily the one that's back here, but the 5th column. So we put that there first, okay? Then we draw 4 more units and fill them in left to right. There we go. And then if there were any spaces, then we would move down. And that's how it goes. So pretty much you do that for 7 turns max, because after the 7th turn, you're not going to be able to fill in again, and then the game will be over. So you've got to win before that happens. And then what you're going to do is if you have anybody that is, flipped over, you'll flip them back at the beginning. Some of these guys you don't flip, some of them you discard, but some of them you do flip. So there's a variety of different champions there. And as you can see, it's very combo based. It's a very combo based kind of game because I was able to do all that stuff with some really bad die rolls. Now I got really lucky in that, but you can see how a little bit of clever thinking can really open up a lot of sweet chain moves and different things for you to discover. So that is how this game plays. If you are able to empty this deck and kill all the machines out here before you run out of time, get blown away over here, or have a siege engine remain in the Vanguard at the end, then you win. All right, let me tell you what I think about it. Okay, so that was Siege of Valeria, and it is only a 1-player game. So what do I think? Number 1, it is a breeze to set up and get playing right away. I like that a lot. Number 2, it's a very short game. I mean, the box says 30 to 45 minutes. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Although I haven't won yet, I've played several games. I feel like that'd be about the time limit you're going to be dealing with. Most of the games that I've played have been about half hour. And a lot of the ones I've lost by siege engine issues, I've lost by turret issues, and I've also lost by the cards running out too. So that it tells me that, you know, it just depends on the game. You're going to have different things happen to you. One won't necessarily be more prevalent than the other. I really enjoy this game from a solo standpoint. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to do the card combos. It's fun to see how the dice you can have kind of a dumpy roll with all those ones and then figure out, well, wait a minute, maybe if I think about this long enough, I can figure out how to do other things. And it's just a lot of cool variety. The events always suck, so that's kind of a bummer. So you are always getting, you know, smashed on for the most part. There's one or two nice ones in there, but for the most part, they're bad. And just like any good game with tension, things are constantly falling apart on you. You know, I had a really good run that time, but you saw I had 4 damage in the last, already on my board. That means I had only killed one of the enemies in my vanguard. It happened that my dice just worked out where I was able to just go into the battlefield and kill more of them, but I couldn't really crack the case of the ones that are up front. And sometimes that's okay, because no matter what, those monsters will be discarded at the end. So they're going to do 1 damage and only 1 damage. And if you don't get it done, maybe it's better to do that and, you know, take on different monsters depending on the situation. There's just a lot of cool things to like about this game with regards to the combos. I will say that it's all combos. There's not a variety of strategy here. It's a complete tactical game. There isn't going to be a situation where you say, I'm going to focus on this or this or this in this game. You're going to, I mean, yeah, you could decide I'm going to try to kill more siege engines as a priority earlier and such. But for the most part, you're going to do what you're going to make the best situation out of what you have. And by doing that over and over, that'll probably lead to a victory versus flailing around. So it's all about the card combos. If you're looking for a massive amount of different options and such, this one's not going to have it. But if you're looking for something that's cool, that you can kind of chain things together and see how one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, oh my gosh, I really got myself out of that situation, then this game has it in spades. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you decide to play in the future, I hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.